Hello everyone, welcome to Lukman IAS. Today we are going to have the Hindu analysis of 1st May 2021. So before going into the lecture, let me explain you the significance of day. It is International Labour Day, 1st May, that is celebrated all over the world. Okay, so this is important. Yes, we are also celebrating in India 1st May as Labour Day. Okay, so yes, important articles from today's The Hindu newspaper. We can see that all of the articles complete The Hindu newspaper or any newspaper is basically dealing with all the developments that are happening in dealing with this COVID-19 pandemic second wave in India. So from that aspect only we have to understand, take input for our examination in different modules. Okay, let us take overview of all these articles. A timely warning. So the context of the article is that recently Supreme Court has warned state governments and police establishment, law enforcement agencies to not crack down on the social media information that is there. Basically the people are seeking help for their near and dear ones on the social media, and yes, some of the state governments like UP government recently said that it is tarnishing the image of the state government and they will crack down on such social media platforms. So now this is good development. We are going to take input from governance, polity as well as COVID-19 perspective here. Then the rising sun in India-Japan relations. So the context of this article on page number 6, editorial page, it is talking about India and Japan relationship. Basically the new Prime Minister of Japan, Mr. Suga. Okay, so how the relationship in future is going to be taken forward by the heads of two governments. This is how the areas of, or we can say potential areas of cooperation between two countries in near future, the article is talking here. Along with that, there is one article on editorial page, today's The Hindu newspaper. Let me tell you about that article. You should not read or take input directly, in a literal sense from that article, because it is written in a very crude criticism of the government. The language which is used, the language in that article, that failing of the government, something like that. So basically the language used by the writer is very, let's say, crude language that cannot be used by a civil servant or we can say aspirants in their mains examination. We should be very balanced. Whatever the criticism we are doing, that should be constructive criticism. Okay, so whenever we are taking input from such articles, we should be very careful. We know that the Hindu newspaper has some kind of leaning towards leftist policies. However, we have to also understand the criticisms in a positive way. Okay, so whatever the government's actions, its policies, policy decisions, the criticism should be taken in a positive way, constructive criticism. The way forward should be understood, alternative policies should be suggested. Okay, otherwise that criticism is not constructive criticism. Okay, so that's why we are not going to discuss that particular article. Whatever the positive things which are mentioned in these articles to deal with this COVID-19 pandemic or any other issue for our examination, that is important. And lastly, COVID-19 related development, international help to deal this COVID-19 pandemic reaching in India. Okay, so let us go into details of all these articles. A timely warning. Now recently a Supreme Court judge, Supreme Court bench warned to state governments and police against clamping down on spread of information or calls for help through social media from citizens affected by COVID-19. Now we can see that even in Delhi here, let me tell you my example. I also tried to help certain people, near and dear ones, their family members were in hospital due to lack of oxygen supply in Delhi. Many problems were faced and people were, or we can say though the government is there, however the government is not reachable to the common people. Okay, so where to approach the government, right kind of information was not there, and that's why people are seeking help from their social network, whether they have anything available, these essential supplies. Okay, so that's why similar kind of things going on in UP, Maharashtra. Yes, that is fine. However, to some extent we have to understand that some of the, let's say, antisocial elements may be involved, and that's why the governments, especially the UP government, recently issued let's say warning that those spreading information or rumor would be detained under National Security Act and their property will be seized. Now this is very extreme step. Okay, this is very extreme state, because this is going to or we can say it impacts Article 19 and fundamental rights mentioned under Article 19, that is freedom of speech and expression. Freedom of speech and expression, and it is very important. The information flow cannot be curbed by the government. This is what the present, let's say, view of the Supreme Court in this thing. Court's warning that any attempt to stifle the people's voices would attract action of contempt of court is quite timely and necessary. This is how we have to understand. The Supreme Court has said that any, let's say, decision taken by the state government or police in this manner will be called as contempt of court. Okay. So why it is important? Because this has been, let's say, a particular situation wherein government or administration is not able to help the people, then the civil society or the people, individual themselves can come forward to help the people, needy ones, through this social media platform. Basically, this is the technology. Social media platforms has come to help the people. We have seen how actor Sonu Sood has created certain social platforms like Telegram channel. He's helping the people whenever the people are posting on that social media platform or other such platforms. Celebrities, leaders, they are also posting important information on social media platform wherein people are getting help. Right. So this is very important. However, we have to also understand that whatever the information that is flooding on this social media platform is very, let's say, problematic. Let me tell you my experience itself. Okay, whatever the information or the let's say phone numbers that we received for oxygen cylinder supply in Delhi from this social media platform, let me tell you, 90% of those calls were fake. They were not receiving calls, phones were switched off, everything. This is also problematic to the common people. That means flooding of misinformation, or we can say anti-social element, those, let's say, traders who are hoarding the oxygen cylinders, they are spreading this information, or there is black marketing going on. All this should be stopped by the administration. Okay. So selective approach should be there by the administration. They should crack down on hoarding of essential supplies. Along with that, administration should not see all appeals for help as activities aimed at tarnishing government's image. Okay. Otherwise, this is like the government, any kind of criticism of the government is seen as, let's say, tarnishing the government's image, obstruction to the administration, governance. Okay, so it should not be seen as tarnishing government's image. Rather, there can be genuine cases of appeals for help. Surely, many of these are appeals by the near and dear ones of those people whose relatives are in hospitals. They are facing critical situations because of lack of oxygen supply, lack of available beds. Okay, so that's why the government should help them rather than, let's say, taking such extreme steps or clamping down on social media platforms. And the reference given by Justice Chandrachud of Supreme Court judge in this particular case, he said that free flow of information in 1970 famine enabled the government to tackle problems effectively as compared to the clampdown during 1918 pandemic. Okay, so this is how the reference is made to two important pandemics, or let's say health situations faced at that time, and how free flow of information helped government or overall, let's say, situation in 1970. However, government clamped down on such free flow of information in this particular pandemic, and it has resulted into more deaths at that time. Okay, so you can also give this reference whenever we are talking about significance of free flow of information. Rather, here we have to also understand that why there is need of, let's say, people going on sharing this information. Instead, why administration and state governments or central government is not let's say devising such plan or helpline to the people, and these helplines should be operational. Okay, so one helpline can be dedicated for, let's say, oxygen supply, one helpline can be dedicated for bed availability and arrangement, and yes, applications can be given by the needy people to the government, and government should immediately reply, communicate individually to these people. Okay, so in this manner automatically the genuine help, or let's say those people will be getting help, and those having the, let's say, anti-social agenda or those fake people, the government can also clamp down on those people. Okay, so the major role here should be of the government administration to play as lead role in dealing with such situation. Fine. So yes, you can take input for GS2 paper, governance COVID-19 situation. Next, the rising sun in India-Japan relations. So the context of the article, yes, it is talking about recent telephonic conversation between leaders, heads of the government, PM of India, PM of Japan, the newly elected, we can say, Prime Minister of Japan, Yoshihide Suga. So the article is talking about how the future relationship, bilateral relationship will evolve, in which areas there can be, let's say, potential cooperation between these countries. So yes, India-Japan relations important for GS2 paper, international relations. Okay, we can take input here whenever there is question. First thing, yes, area of cooperation in defense, a continuation of balancing security policy against China. Now this policy was adopted by both PMs since 2014, when our Prime Minister came to the power in 2014 for first term. So the earlier Prime Minister Shinzo Abe of Japan and our Prime Minister Narendra Modi, they had this policy of balancing, let's say, security policy against China, especially in Indo-Pacific region. So how defense relationship already evolved under leadership of these two earlier leaders, we can say in just a decade, New Delhi and Tokyo have expanded high-level ministerial and bureaucratic contacts, conducted joint military exercises, concluded military pacts such as acquisition and cross-servicing agreement, logistic agreement. So try to remember the names of the agreements. We know that the exercises, military exercises with Japan, for example, there is Malabar exercise. Malabar exercise. Okay, since 2015, Japan has been the member of this exercise. Now it has become the quadrilateral exercise this year. 2020, last year, we can say, by inclusion of Australia in this Malabar naval exercises. Okay, so in this manner, the defense relationship between two countries have evolved. Now the relationship between technology, yes, both countries are evolving in a cooperation between, let's say, in this field, technological field. Basically here we can say that cyber security and space, 5G technology, basically these are the areas, potential areas, further, let's say, expansion of cooperation can be done between these two countries. Cyber security, emerging technologies like 5G technology is there, artificial intelligence is there. Okay, so surely there can be expansion of cooperation in these technologies. Then economic ties and infrastructure development, this is very important. At present, the potential is not realized. You can remember certain facts here and write down in examination. At present, Japan is India's 12th largest trading partner, and trade volumes between two stand at just 5th of value of that of India-China bilateral trade. So this we have to, let's say, increase the bilateral trade between India and Japan, and the comparison between India-China bilateral trade and India-Japan bilateral trade is, let's say, this should be balanced. Okay. Along with that, India need to secure continued infrastructure investment in strategically vital connectivity projects, currently underway in Northeast India and the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. At present, yes, Japan is investing in many such infrastructure projects in India. For example, high speed train between Mumbai and Ahmedabad. Mumbai and Ahmedabad high speed train. This project is being funded by Japan. Okay, so many such infrastructure projects are being funded. Lastly, the strategy towards third world countries and multilateral bodies. So especially we are talking about the joint development, infrastructure development projects in Africa and some of the Middle East countries like Iran and other Asian countries. Okay, so already they have collaborated to build infrastructure in Iran and Africa and provide vital aid to Myanmar and Sri Lanka. Now, they need to take certain hard look at, let's say, instances, reports suggesting that joint infrastructure projects in Africa and Iran have stalled with substantial cost overruns. This issue should be solved in future, and further collaboration can be done so as to deter, or we can say this will act as a competition with Chinese investment in Iran. Recently we know that China-Iran had a 25-year, let's say, trade deal that was signed, economic partnership deal that was signed recently. Along with that, China is also investing in Africa. So that will act as a competition to this Chinese investment in that region. Okay, so India-Japan relationship, you can understand that in future in which areas there should be, let's say, exploration of, or let's say areas, potential areas for cooperation. Fine. So international relations GS2 paper. Now COVID-19 related developments at national level. Yes, on daily basis we are looking into certain government policy decisions, vaccine related decisions, Supreme Court, High Court's decisions, or let's say directives given to the state and central governments. So this is important. As a follow-up, Supreme Court warned the state governments and police against clamping down on information and calls through social media, right? So yes, just now we discussed one editorial regarding this particular directions warning. Delhi High Court said that state has failed to protect right to life of citizens. Okay. Along with that, Supreme Court has said that center owes the special responsibility to Delhi. Along with that, Supreme Court asked why the government could not follow the nationwide immunization program policy with respect to COVID-19 vaccine. Why, let's say, center had not procured 100% of the vaccines and equitably distributed them across the country. At present, we know that the central government is going to procure only 50% of the from the manufacturers. Remaining 50% quota, manufacturers can sell that to the state governments and private hospitals. Now, this creates some kind of competition between the states as well as between the state government and hospitals, private hospitals. Surely those, let's say, progressive states, those who are having more revenues, they will be buying these vaccines and surely providing to the people, its citizens. However, remaining states will lag here. So this is a kind of vaccine inequity that is going to be created because of policy decisions. At the same time, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh has invoked special provisions and granted emergency financial powers to the armed forces to empower them and speed up their efforts to tide over current COVID-19 situation. Now, armed forces are also going to help the civilians in dealing with this COVID-19 situation. Along with that, defense establishments like Defense Research Development Organization (DRDO) is arranging big size oxygen cylinder for fulfilling requirements of different hospitals. Okay, so this is also good development at national level. Fine. So as a follow-up to all these policy decisions, directives by Supreme Courts, High Courts, you need to remember them. Next, international help reaching India. Yes, from aircrafts from 4 countries, US, Romania, Ireland and UK has recently reached. Yes, the shipment also containing of 700 units of oxygen concentrators, 365 ventilators arrived from Ireland. Then a Romanian aircraft landed in Palam Air Base with oxygen and other medical supplies as a part of joint Romania EU European Union efforts for India. So basically these European Union countries, they are sending the help under this particular program, that is EU Civil Protection Mechanism. Civil Protection Mechanism. Support from these countries is channeled through this particular mechanism. Okay, so this is the international help that is coming in India, reaching to India at present time. Okay, so yes, these were important articles from today's The Hindu newspaper. For further information on editorial discussion classes or ED classes, wherein in-depth analysis of mains related issues and articles is done by Ansari sir and team, you can contact Lukman IAS. Thank you.